Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to talk briefly about arm breaks in arm wrestling. Yes, unfortunately, arm breaks are a major hazard in arm wrestling. The good news is they are very rare. We saw one occur yesterday, unfortunately, up at the Powerhouse event up in the Gold Coast. It was two reasonably experienced guys. Didn't look like anybody did anything particularly wrong. It looks more like it was a freak accident. One of the guys trying to stop a big hit, and just his arm just couldn't take that pressure. So, looks like a spiral fracture in the humerus bone, which is a terrible thing to happen. The good news is, as I said, it is very rare. And if you are doing everything right technically, if you're in the right position, if you've got a cupped wrist, if you've got your elbow close to your body, and your body weight can take that pressure, usually you will never have any issues. And that's one of the key things we try to teach to beginners when they come into the club is first things first, do the techniques safely. People that have never arm wrestled before usually don't really know what they're doing, and they think it's just pure side pressure, which obviously arm wrestling is not just that. It is a whole heap of other things where it's more of a pulling motion. That's why we call our members, our community pullers, because we are literally trying to pull the opponent across the table. You're trying to pull them down to the pin pad. It's not that you're just pushing with pure side pressure. That's where you can really injure yourself. So, beginner comes into our club for the very first time, no worries, we'll get you on the table. This is the basics. Make sure your elbow is on the pad. Make sure you're holding on to the pole. Keep your shoulders pointed towards me. I like to tell people to do that to start with. That sort of tends to stop that twisting that some people, for some reason, a lot of beginners seem to love doing this thing where they start here and they turn their body and then they close their eyes and then they squeeze with everything they've got. And it's like, that is classic arm break position right there. So if somebody's doing that with me on a beginner's table, I will just stop them. Like, you just got to stop. Like that's you're gonna hurt yourself doing that. So if you're on the table with me for the first time, you're gonna be pinning me over and over and over, because I'm gonna let you get the technique right before I start putting any resistance in. So if you're pushing down, I'm gonna let my arm go down, and I'm gonna explain to you, and I'll be talking to you the whole time. You need to cup your wrist. Add some pronation there. This is the way that we want to do it. If you're turning your shoulders, just make sure you turn your shoulders back a little bit. Of keeping everything calm, of keeping everything as simple as possible, so that people can get that technique right first. Because the last thing you want to do is get somebody on a table and just either smash through them, or have them pushing with everything that they've got, and you're just literally stonewalling them. And it's almost like they've gone up to the side of a house, and they're trying to push over the side of a house. It's just not going to happen, and all the pressure is just going to go straight to that bone. So get the techniques right first. That's the key. Usually, once you've got two guys that know what they're doing, you can add a lot more pressure. You can really start sort of getting those movements right. And you're going to start with a top roll. You're going to eventually learn the hook. You're eventually going to learn the press, and those sort of positions that can come into your repertoire of attacks. But they take time. They take time for you to A, coordinate the movement, and B, for your joints and muscles and tendons to be conditioned enough to be able to get in those positions safely and effectively. So, good news is, as I said, arm breaks are very rare, especially at the top level. If you look across the board at any of the top pullers in the world, it's rare that you would see a top level match where somebody breaks an arm. I know we've seen Michael Todd break his arm, and it was like one of the most watched videos, because it was a very rare occurrence. It's not something that happens regularly. Purely, if things are done safely in arm wrestling, you're less likely to have an injury. So make sure you do the techniques right. Keep on the tables, keep being strong, and we'll see you next time.